In the Goblet of Fire, we are introduced to schools outside of Hogwarts for the first time. And while Hogwarts remains a top choice for many aspiring witches and wizards, the truth is that there exists a vast world of magical education beyond the familiar walls of Hogwarts. There may not be as many options as, say, Muggle schools, that much is obvious, but according to JK Rowling, there are actually 11 major wizarding schools worldwide. The number of countries that have their own magical school is minuscule compared to those that do not. This is because the wizarding populations of most countries choose the option of homeschooling. Occasionally, too, the magical community in a given country is tiny or far-flung, and correspondence courses have been found a more cost-effective means of educating the young. There are 11 long-established and prestigious wizarding schools worldwide, all of which are registered with the International Confederation of Wizards. Anyone wishing to know whether there is an approved magical school in their region should address an OWL inquiry to the International Confederation of Wizards Educational Office. During the primary Harry Potter books, we learn about a couple of these schools, like Durmstrang and Beauxbatons, and in the Fantastic Beasts series, we learn a fair bit about a wizarding school in America named Ilvermorny. But what about the other 7? As of writing this, only 8 of the 11 major wizarding schools mentioned by Rowling have been confirmed, which leaves the door wide open for speculation. She first introduced the figure of 11 schools back in 2016, but for reasons unknown has yet to name the 3 mystery schools. So where are these 3 unidentified schools? What language do they speak? And what sort of magic do they specialize in? Today we're going to be discussing all of that and more as we discuss the 11 major wizarding schools. Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. To avoid confusion, I'm going to kick things off with a very brief summary of the schools that we do know about. If you want more info on these schools, check out my video, The History of Every Magic School in the Wizarding World. First, we've got Hogwarts. Located in the Scottish Highlands, Hogwarts was founded when 4 10th century witches and wizards got together and decided that they had, in the Sorting Hat's own words, the self-same yearning to make the world's best magic school. These founders were Godric Gryffindor, Rowena Ravenclaw, Salazar Slytherin, and Helga Hufflepuff. Next, we've got Ilvermorny. Located in the mountains of Massachusetts, USA, Ilvermorny was founded in the early 17th century by Isolde Sayre, an Irish pureblood witch, the only child and daughter of William and Rhianna Sayre, and the wife of James Stewart. The school stands at the highest peak of Mount Greylock, where it is concealed from non-magic gaze by a variety of powerful enchantments. Next up, Beauxbatons. Found somewhere in the Pyrenees Mountains of southern France, this school was founded in the 13th century and is home to a number of witches and wizards from varying nationalities. Next, Durmstrang. Located in the far north of Europe, Durmstrang has perhaps the darkest reputation of all wizarding schools, having once been the school of the infamous dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald. It's been expressed that visitors of the school must comply with having memory charms performed on them in order to erase their knowledge of how they arrived there. Next, Castelo Bruxo. This Brazilian wizarding school is located amid the Amazon rainforest in northern Brazil, and it's home to students from all over South America. The school itself is just as old as Hogwarts, at least according to Pottermore, and was founded 500 years before colonization. Next, Mahuto Koro. This Japanese school of magic, located on the topmost point of the volcanic island of Minami Iwo Jima, is one of the oldest wizarding schools, only described as ancient. Next, Wagadu. This wizarding school is located in what are called the Mountains of the Moon, an ancient term referring to the Rwenzori Mountains of Uganda, found at the source of the Nile River. The exact founding year of the school is unknown. However, we do know that the school has been around for about 1,000 years, making it similar in age to Hogwarts. And finally, Koldovstoriets. This Russian wizarding school is located on a hidden section of Lake Ladoga, a freshwater lake located in northwestern Russia. The school gets its name from the Russian words Koldovstvo, meaning witchcraft, and Tvoriets, which means creator. If we overlap the two words, they form a portmanteau, which means the creator of magic. Makes sense for a wizarding school. And that concludes the list of 8 known schools. Now onto the mystery schools. The first thing I want to establish is where. Where on earth are these mystery schools located? In order to reach the conclusions that I did, I first took careful note of where each of the existing schools are. Some schools don't disclose their exact country, but we do get a rough sense of their geographical location, and that's good enough for me. We've got Scotland, the USA, France, Northern Europe, likely Norway given the extensive mountain ranges, Russia, East Africa, Japan, and finally Brazil. And while this list may seem like it covers an extensive geographical area, there are still a number of major locations that don't appear on this list. Locations such as Southern, Central, Eastern, and Western Europe, the Middle East, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Oceania, Central Asia, Southern Africa, North Africa, the Caribbean, Central America, West Africa, East Asia, and more. There are a few ways to approach this, but I'm first going to approach it from the perspective of geographical area covered. To cover the most geographical area and to make the most sense based on the other locations, as well as cultural diversity and magical traditions, I suspect that the 3 remaining wizarding schools are likely located in the following regions: India, Australia, and Egypt. India has long been a cradle of mysticism, spirituality, and ancient traditions steeped in magic. The country's history is woven with tales of sages, mystics, and alchemists who have explored the mysteries of the universe, from the spiritual practices of the Vedas to the legendary stories of powerful deities and their supernatural abilities. Placing a wizarding school in India would not only cover South Asia geographically, but it would also embody the region's profound connection to the mystical and to the arcane. Such a school could draw from India's deep well of magical lore, incorporating elements like Ayurveda, ancient medicine, Tantra, and the ancient art of mantra chanting, which is believed to hold great power. The school could also explore the rich tapestry of Indian mythology, where gods, demons, and celestial beings interact with humans in a world where magic is a natural part of existence. I'm sure there are also many more reasons that India would make sense, so be sure to comment those down below if you can think of them. On to Australia. Australia, with its vast landscapes and diverse ecosystems, would serve as an ideal location for a wizarding school to represent the Oceania region. The continent's unique geographical features, from the arid outback to lush rainforests, provide a rich environment for magical education, drawing upon the natural wonders that are found nowhere else on Earth. Incorporating elements of Aboriginal magic would be central to the identity of an Australian wizarding school. Aboriginal cultures have a profound connection to the land, with ancient practices and stories that have been passed down through generations. The school could also delve into the magical properties of Australia's unique flora and fauna. With some of the most distinctive and often dangerous species in the world, Australia offers a treasure trove of potential magical creatures and plants. Establishing a wizarding school in Australia would not only cover the Oceania region geographically, but also ensure that the Southern Hemisphere's unique cultural and natural heritage is represented within the global wizarding community. Egypt, with its profound and ancient history, is an exceptional candidate for hosting wizarding school due to its deep-rooted connections to magic, mysticism, and monumental historical significance. The ancient Egyptians were pioneers in the study of magic and alchemy, with texts like the pyramid texts and the coffin texts providing evidence of their complex magical practices. The mystical significance of the pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, enhances Egypt's allure as a location for a wizarding school. The pyramids have long been associated with ancient secrets and esoteric knowledge. They were constructed with a deep understanding of astronomy, geometry, and spiritual symbolism, which suggests a sophisticated knowledge of both magic and science. Placing a wizarding school in Egypt would also ensure representation for North Africa and the Middle East, regions rich in their own magical and historical traditions. Maybe that's partly why the Weasleys chose Egypt for their trip. Now, I chose these 3 locations for a number of reasons, but the primary reasoning here was their geographical location. By selecting India, Australia, and Egypt, it would ensure that, in consideration of the other schools, the entire world is somewhat accounted for in terms of how the magical schools are spread out. We wouldn't want anyone too far away from a magical school now, would we? The other way to approach this would be to base the 3 remaining schools in locations with the highest populations. Through this approach, India would still very much make the cut, with 1.4 billion people. The next country to make an appearance with this style of reasoning would undoubtedly be China, who has the largest population of any country in the world. I think that China would also be an exceptional location for a wizarding school due to its profound historical and cultural legacy. The country's ancient traditions in mysticism, such as Taoism and Confucianism, offer a deep well of magical philosophies and practices. Furthermore, Chinese mythology, with its pantheon of gods, mythical creatures like dragons and phoenixes, and legendary figures such as the Monkey King, provides a rich source of magical lore and inspiration. I suspect that the school would incorporate elements of traditional Chinese medicine, including practices like acupuncture and herbal remedies, into its curriculum, alongside Chinese alchemy and divination techniques such as I Ching and Feng Shui. China's diverse landscapes from the Himalayas to tropical regions would also support a variety of magical creatures and plants. But the location of the last school is a bit tricky. You see, many of the remaining top 10 most populated countries are actually pretty close together, at least from a global perspective. Therefore, I'd have to give the last spot to either Nigeria or Indonesia. There are some countries more populated than these two, but these ones are still up there, and they're far enough away from other significant locations that it still makes sense. With over 17,000 islands, Indonesia boasts a wealth of traditional magical practices rooted in its diverse cultures, including those of the Javanese, Balinese, and Dayak peoples. The country's mythology is filled with enchanting stories and deities, such as the Garuda, a mythical bird, and Rangda, a fearsome witch-like figure which could inspire magical lore and curriculum. Indonesian magical traditions, such as those practiced in Balinese ceremonies and rituals, offer insights into spiritual and mystical practices that could be integrated into the school's teachings. Nigeria, located on the other end of Africa from Uganda, boasts over 250 different ethnic groups, including the Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa Fulani, all of which contribute to a diverse array of magical lore and practices. Traditional Nigerian religions and myths feature powerful deities such as Orunmila, the god of wisdom, and Ishu, the trickster deity, which could provide the foundation for a unique magical curriculum. Nigerian folklore, including stories of legendary figures like the great hunter Sango and the mystical aspects of the masquerade traditions, could inspire magical studies and rituals. What do you guys think? If there are only 3 remaining wizarding schools, where are they? Do you agree with my selections? Did they make sense? Do you have your own theories? Let me know down in the comment section below. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.